So, congratulations, good job. You've made it to the end of the course. Give yourself a pat on the back or give yourself a high five. We've learned a lot. So, what have we learned exactly? First of all, we've learned to use a 2D editor to set up a basic scene and to add some basic nodes. Next, we added the rigid body 2D and the static body 2D, and we used these bodies to add some basic physics. The basic physics is done by the Godot engine itself, so we don't really need to worry about how that's done. After that, we went on to scripting. We learned a lot about scripting. First of all, in the GD script, we learned about the ready function. That's the function which just is run only once when the scene is set up for the first time. Then, after that, we learned about the process function. Remember that the process function is called every time the screen is updated. So the rate at which the process function is called depends on the frame rate of the game. We've also learned about defining and assigning variables. Variables contain data. They can contain text data and number data. We learned about the if clause, and we learned about comparison operators like smaller than, greater than, equals to, etc., etc. After that, we learn about functions, creating our own functions. Functions have inputs and outputs. And we also learned about logical operators like and or and not. But even though we learned a lot, there is still a lot to learn. And there's a lot of potentially quite abstract and challenging stuff which we have only covered very briefly. And of course, we could still do quite a lot to improve this game. For example, we could have something to keep score as to how many times we hit and miss. Also, every time the game resets, the sliders reset. Instead of resetting the sliders, there should be a way to keep the sliders at the same level even as the game resets. And we could, for example, add a second player like a computer player or a second human player. But I'm not going to cover any of that. If you do feel like doing that as an exercise, then I do encourage you. I will be moving on to my next project, which will be to create a flight simulator. So if you're interested in creating a flight simulator in Godot, then keep an eye out for that series of courses coming up sometime this year. In the meantime, if you feel like doing some independent studying, then here are some things I would recommend you to study. First of all, revise some of the things we have already learned. Do some of the logic exercises in the appendix, for example. Learn more about the if, elif, and else clause. Learn about different variable types like integer, real, string. Learn about for and while loops. Learn about classes and objects. Learn about inheritance. And keep up the good work and practice, practice, practice. Learning about all of this stuff in the abstract might be interesting and fun, but you won't really learn it without practicing. So make up a game of your own and start working on it. So I hope you enjoyed this course. If you did, and if you're eager to learn more about Godot, I'm going to come up with a couple of more courses about making specific games in Godot, so there's lots more to learn. Check out my other courses if you're interested. And just remember, the best way to learn is to keep practicing. So practice, 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 and above all, have fun while doing it. See you later. Bye-bye.